If you're tired of the standard business and marketing fundamentals, frameworks, and funnels, you need a little mischief. Get ready to turn up the volume on the CEO Mischief Maker podcast, where you access conversations with seasoned business owners who have smashed through mindset barriers, innovated the standard boring business and marketing playbooks, and executed future-paced strategies with bleeding-edge tools and tactics to micro-fail their way into massive success and growth. We are Mindset Impact Strategic Catalysts helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. We are CEO Mischief Makers. Ready to make a little mischief? Hey, welcome back to the conversation. CEO Mischief Makers, you get to chat again and listen to the conversation between myself and Matt Deseno. So tell me, Matt, we talked and I'm going to tell you guys right now listening, if you haven't listened to Monday, please go back and listen to Monday. You know how this follows. We start with the big picture. We start at 30,000 feet, then with mindset. Then we come down a little closer to ground level with impact and innovation. We start getting into some of the details, but we still stay a little higher level. Now, today we get to come down to ground level, get in the weeds, rubber meets the road, all the wonderful puns you want to use. So, but Matt, talk to me about strategy. You have a company with 80 employees impacting white labeling and impacting 1,000 businesses and all the customers of those businesses. What is your main strategy for success? And you can take this wherever you want. Business, family, we've talked a lot about your family too. We can obviously talk about business. Strategy for your business. How are you actually strategically and then tactically helping these businesses?
Yeah. So the perspective over the last couple of years when we started to, so we've only white labeled for about 2 years. We actually still, the majority of our business is actually direct to businesses, and we're white labeling to agencies. So it's like we have over 1,000 agencies and they have over 30,000 businesses. And then they've got customers beyond that. And so it's been this kind of cool observation. We've also been able to work with some like really cool, you wouldn't consider them necessarily agencies, but it's almost like expert businesses that are in the agency space that really are like pioneering and in the world of marketing. So I'm going to speak a little bit of like marketing. That's probably my expertise. I actually teach marketing at Pepperdine University. So I know marketing very, very well and have a kind of cool cross section over, especially in the United States, what works well when it comes to marketing. And so the top level thing, I was gonna, there's so much stuff I could go into. I'm gonna give you a couple things that strategically think of, it's kind of like saying, think of the funnel, but think of this cascading experience. Like there's a glass ceiling before every step that you're measuring. And so sometimes we will focus on improving a step or a metric that is actually limited by a preceding action. So a good example of this, let's say I'm like, I want more customers. I'm a business. How do I get more customers? And I'd be like, well, how many leads do you have? I'm like, I don't know. Like that's a function, that is a metric you want to improve. I want more customers, but you will never have more customers than you have leads.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And,
right.
And so you can play this game at each one of those levels of like, what am I trying to improve? And what is actually kind of like the glass ceiling above this, that maybe I should focus on opening up a higher level of the funnel, if you will. If you think of that funnel, like top is going to be the biggest, bottom is going to be the smallest, no matter what. You can improve incrementally, the portion of leads to customers or views to leads or whatever it might be, but you're still limited by that preceding action. And so for so many businesses, the biggest bottleneck is actually just visibility. So before leads, before anything, it's like you will never, you could say it this way, you'll never impact, serve, have more customers than a number of people who know you exist. It is just on that level. Like we are struggling to just even exist, not even compete as being better, but just even be a contender of an option. For many businesses, that's still the limiting factors. They do not have enough general visibility. And so I guess I would go along with that as one of like the biggest encouragements. I say like my most popular YouTube video talks to this exact thing is the most high leveraged way to get visibility. So I think I'm in this way. The only unreplenishable resource that we have is time. My goodness, right? Like this time, it's gone. We had this experience and it's gone. It's never coming back. And so as you're deciding what to do with your business, the biggest opportunity cost is time.
Yep.
So when I think through how am I going to improve marketing, how am I going to improve my business? I want to find high leverage in terms of time. Now I get it. Everyone's got a constraint of like, you might have more time than money. That's fine. But even in small ways, I'm going to try and find as much leverage as possible. Just because it's how I live my life. So I want to take care of that precious resource. With that in mind, the highest leveraged way to increase visibility is paid media. And a lot of folks are burned because they've tried one paid media and they're like, that didn't work. Or whatever that experience was, or I tried that and I got banned. I can't do it over there. And I'd say, zoom out. There are so many foundational ways where you can increase your visibility, that top level of your business, of just showing up you exist, and even do it in a really low cost way. So one example, I'd say a tactical, like no brainer for everyone, which surprisingly not a lot of folks have this, is call it brand search. You can bid on your brand. Why? You're like, well, if they're searching for my brand, they must already know I exist, right? They heard me on a podcast and they were saying like, whoa, Matt Deseno from this company called BAM. They must be searching BAM. I'll tell you, actually, it's funny. BAM, the name of our company is actually a really popular Korean pop song. And so we can't even come close. I'm talking like it is a chart topper Korean pop song. Like there's no way I'm ever going to compete organically for our own business name. Now, are they doing any paid media on Google for it? Nope. Not whatsoever. And so for pennies, we show up, ironically, if you're searching for that Korean pop song or if you're searching for our business. But even for your own business brand search, you should own it. Like it costs you almost nothing. You set it up once, you set it and forget it. Here's why. Because what you show up for organically may not be the best first introduction to you. It might be a page that's not conversion rate optimized. It might be good content, but we know, like, step down the ladder from visibility. I want leads. I want some way to continue the conversation, name, email, phone number, ideally, but some sort of connection so that I can possibly nurture that relationship into a sale. And so the benefit of owning your own brand, paying for your branded paid media, is very low cost. You can literally say, I'll bid a penny. No one else is bidding on your brand name. Like it's just you. However, you can now decide what's the first point of introduction. You're putting your best foot forward. You're not wondering, are they going to get me? Are they going to get a random page on my website? Are they going to get an offer that I don't really like people to see anymore? And it's kind of fatigued out there. You can send them on to a specific page that is designed to get their information so you can nurture that relationship. So that's like strategy and almost tactics. Like the biggest things that I see is visibility. Is every business struggles with this and will always struggle with it. Like we will always continue trying to make more folks either know we exist or think about us more often. That's, you get into like big brands like Coke and Pepsi. That's what they do. They're just top of mind. That's all they're trying to do is top of mind.
Yeah.
That's going to be a glass ceiling for all of our businesses for forever.
Yes.
We'll never have more customers or impact more people than the number of folks that know we exist.
Yes.
And then from a tactic below that strategy, or like that awareness, that breakthrough, paid media, like Google brand search, low cost, single input, high leverage forever. And then you can kind of start to expand out of that. And so we run paid media everywhere, even at a low budget, because I can't find another way for, like you look at cost per impression, that's cost per like 1,000 or 10,000 folks. It could literally be $1. You could spend $1 a day and hundreds of people will know you exist.
Yeah.
That may have not known you exist the day before. Like there's not as many high leverage ways to do that and solve that problem. And so much of it can be set it and forget it, where you're not trying to do like amazing high scale paid media, but like a low amount across the board where people are just encountering that you exist. For a lot of businesses, it's not like rocket science, like beyond brand. What would you need to show up for? It's like, I don't know what, like the key terms of what I do. And you can even be like, compete regionally so that you spend less, right? Because that's, we kind of inherently are more attractive in proximity. Why most of us do business with businesses that are in the same country as us. And then if we had a preference between buying local and buying national, you'd probably want to buy local. We are just predisposed to give an advantage to people who have proximity to us. So how could you take that and play with it? Well, take my business, even if I do something really widely generic and only buy media in my city, but my ad is going to say, looking for this in this city, I'd love to talk, right? You don't even have to get super creative with offers and all that sort of stuff. Just show up and even be someone that they're aware of. Just that basic visibility.
That's amazing. And I love how you talked about there's a glass ceiling at each step. And so, I mean, even if you get as niche as I am, I mean, my agency deals with conversational design. So I'm talking about the very narrow scope in that. Once you have someone who understands who you are, then they become a lead. Now I'm taking that conversation and making sure that each step along the way is as optimized as it possibly can be to get you the highest sales and profit you can possibly get. So I'm not taking about the whole adventure. I'm just taking this piece of how you're having that conversation, but each one, I mean, I love your analogy. If I work with people who do webinars, and you can't have more sales from your webinar than you had people register, right? And you can't have more people show up than you had people register. So if you look at your registration, how can you maximize that conversation to get more people to show up? And then once they show up, you take it and do the webinar and hopefully have more sales. And of course, we all know more sales happen in the follow-up than they do in that initial time. So then how are you having that conversation to get them back to the replay, to get them back to the sales page, to get them back to the order form? All of those conversations matter, but you're right. They are dependent on the previous conversations. That's a beautiful way to look at it. It is so organized and structured and logical. And then you can take all the emotional crap out of it as to whether you're good or not good, or did enough people show up and I only had 4 people, or who cares? It's all numbers game. Just do it again.
It's so true. And that's the funny thing is like, and for a lot of folks, the significant, I guess it's an iterative improvement, like you're saying, increasing show up rate or having better conversations, you will continuously like innovate. It's kind of like how we naturally learn how to speak, right? We just had more conversations or learned a language, right? We just started to engage with folks. And as we did it more, we got better at it. But imagine how difficult it would be to learn how to speak if you had no one to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
I don't think it could happen. You have no one to listen to. There's no feedback loop. And so, this top level visibility, it creates appropriate pressure for the feedback loop, because I like change that other example. If someone only has 4 people show up, they actually don't even know, use the webinar. They don't know if their webinar was good or bad. It could have just been 4 people showed up. However, if 4,000 people showed up and no one bought, they'd be like, oh my gosh, that was bad. And it's appropriate pressure. The opportunity cost of getting better is higher. So you will prioritize it, right? Because you're like, I had 4,000 people show up and not one person bought. If they had all bought, I would have made $4 million. Like I need to improve this thing versus getting stuck in like, well, only 4 people showed up. So should I really improve it? How much should I improve it? So I love that. Works really well for a lot of the online space because you've got a lot more of these incremental steps, but it plays into brick and mortar. It plays into e-com. It plays into every business, even if there's less steps in their customer journey. It still rings true.
It does. And I mean, even the local pet store, that I always go to, they still have to have visibility. They have location, right? So every time you drive by, you can see their name, but of course, then you can just be used to the name and it doesn't matter anymore. But still, there are other things like they have a dog wash, right? A self dog wash. So if they used some of the tools that we have available now, proximity, they have, mobile wallet and things like that, if they actually implemented those kinds of concepts, they could know if you are at the dog park with your dog if you are registered in their database, they know that you're at the dog park. They can send you a message going, hey, did, Rex have a great time at the dog park? Does he need a bath? We've got, 10% discount on our self dog wash. Come on in. I mean, all those, and those are several steps you can still apply to your business and use a lot of the digital tools that we use online in the local space. So, all right, everybody listening to our voice, you have to go back and listen to this again, because Matt just broke it down step by step on how you can start impacting that top line, right? We call it that visibility. It's even above the top line. Most of the time we talk about leads, right, as the top. But this is even visibility. This is even knowing that you exist. And then he took it all the way through, and how you can do very simple things that probably most of the people listening to his voice haven't thought of. So I dare you to go back and listen to that and implement that and just get your brand and bid on your brand. So Matt, this has been an amazing conversation. Is there any last piece of advice you'd like to give over all any of the things that we've talked about, mindset and impact and innovation and strategy and tactics? Any last piece of advice you'd like to give those people listening to our voice and who might be stuck or struggling and wondering what to do or where to go and how they can have that highest impact for the lowest cost? Any last piece of advice?
Yeah, I think it's just helpful to keep in mind that what you do matters. I'm assuming if you've got a business, I have been convinced and re-exposed to this just truth that solving problems and however you're solving problems like makes the world a better place. And I think there's no group of people more well suited to solve serious problems that we face than entrepreneurs, than business owners, that will risk everything, your time, your energy, your money to really make an impact. So if you're feeling like, low point or whatever it is, just remind yourself of that why. And then I guess just hear this as encouragement, that I am so excited and proud to be part of a category that you are in, to be surrounded by the kind of people that you are. And just keep going.
Okay, hold on. If your mindset was shifted, you were inspired to innovate, and you were spurred into action, don't just move on with your day. Focus, my friend, and take a few minutes to visit ceomischiefmaker.com to learn more about the value that was shared with you today. Please act now and create some CEO mischief of your own.